Hello everyone. Tonight we're diving into something downright creepy. Have you ever wondered what's lurking beneath your dirty sneakers, under the streets you walk every day? No, not just clogged sewers or rats the size of cats. We're talking about buried secrets, the remnants of ancient cities where blood, sweat, and maybe even curses still cling to every stone. Before you snuggle into your blanket, hit that like button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time it is there. It's awesome to know who's joining us from all over the world. Picture this. You wake up not on your cozy mattress or to the sound of your Bluetooth speaker whining through your morning playlist. Nope. You open your eyes to find yourself sprawled on a straw mat hard as rock, the smell of damp earth and charcoal smoke punching you in the nose. Your head throbs like someone just smashed it with a brick, and somewhere nearby, the shrill cry of a goat being dragged to slaughter echoes. Welcome to Rome, 100 BCE, a city where life and death rub shoulders, and secrets lie right beneath your feet. You stumble to your feet, barefoot on a dirt floor, so cold it feels like stepping on filthy ice. You look up to see a red-tiled roof, with holes letting in glimpses of a gray, miserable sky. Rain drizzles through, splattering into a muddy puddle right in the middle of the room. Your home, if you can call this cramped dump a home, is in an insula, Rome's version of a sketchy apartment block. The walls are so thin you can hear your neighbor arguing over a stolen chicken. You try to breathe, but the air is thick with the stench of rotting fish from the nearby market, mixed with the sour smell of hundreds of people packed in like sardines. Your stomach growls. You're starving. You drag yourself out of the room, down a creaky wooden staircase that groans with every step, threatening to collapse. The street below is pure chaos. People shout, ox carts rumble, their wooden wheels grinding against stone with a screech like nails on a chalkboard. A street vendor shoves a chunk of bread into your hand, hard as a rock. He grins, all teeth. Eat up, it's good. You take a bite, and holy hell, it tastes like sand mixed with sweat. But you chew, because there's nothing else. Here you are, standing in the heart of Rome, and the first thing that hits you is the massive underground sewer system, the Cloaca Maxima. Oh, don't think it's some glamorous marvel. This is a sewer in every gross sense of the word. A sprawling underground maze where wastewater, garbage, and things far worse flow through. You peer into a nearby grate, and the stench hits you like a fist to the face. But here's the thing. Beneath that smell, under those black, sludgy currents, lies our first secret. The Cloaca Maxima isn't just a sewer. It's Rome's lifeline, built back in the 6th century BCE, when the city was just a bunch of shabby huts. The Etruscans, clever but superstitious folks, dug it to turn this swampy mess into a proper city. But they didn't just dig a sewer. They buried their secrets down there too. Legend has it, when they were building the cloaca, workers uncovered ancient graves, human and animal bones mixed together, alongside stone tablets carved with strange symbols. Some say those were curses from forgotten gods, cast into the darkness, so no one would remember them. Would you dare set foot down there? Or are you just going to stand here, choking down that rock-hard bread and pretending you didn't hear something moaning from below? Keep moving. You weave through the crowd, shoulder to shoulder with laborers, merchants, and drunken soldiers rambling about war. Rome's streets are like a giant market, but not the kind where you stroll through with a shopping cart. Here, everything's alive and messy. An old woman tosses a bucket of dirty water onto the street, nearly splashing you. You dodge, but it hits your tunic, soaking through, cold and clammy against your skin. You want to yell, but who cares? This is Rome, where discomfort is your best friend. You pause outside a small temple, its gray stone walls slick with moss. Inside, a priest is muttering, waving a sharp knife over a bull's carcass. Blood pours out, pooling on the floor, And you notice the stone isn't exactly sealed. There are cracks, and the blood seeping into something below. Here's secret number 2. The catacombs, Rome's hidden chambers, where they stashed things no one wanted to see. Beneath the temples, beneath the glittering squares, are dark rooms holding bones, offerings, and even the remains of those branded enemies of the gods. You shudder, and it's not just the cold. Something feels off. A scrawny man with shifty eyes is watching you from the street corner. He's in a tattered cloak, but his hand grips a small knife. He knows you're curious, and in Rome, curiosity isn't always a good thing. You turn away, walking faster, but the feeling of being watched doesn't fade. Beneath your feet, the ground hums faintly, maybe just an ox cart, or maybe something else moving in the dark. Now you're really hungry. You find a tiny eatery, basically just a wooden table with chipped bowls. The owner, a grumpy old woman, slaps a bowl of lentil soup in front of you. It's hot, but it tastes like dishwater. You grimace, but she cackles. Eat it or you'll starve. You choke it down, each spoonful of punishment. While you're sitting there, you overhear 2 guys at the next table whispering about a secret tunnel right under this market, where people once hid gold, weapons, and bodies no one wanted found. One of them, his face scarred, says only a fool would go down there. Something lives in those tunnels, and it doesn't like visitors. You swallow hard, the bowl suddenly heavy in your hands. Tunnels? Something living down there? You want to ask more, but the scarred guy glances at you, and you know to keep quiet. You get up, leave the eatery, but their story sticks to you like the sewer stench. Rome isn't just grand buildings or flashy parades. It's a maze above ground and below, where every corner hides a secret, and every secret has teeth. Now night's falling. Oil lamps flicker on the streets, their dim glow making everything look eerie. You're exhausted, your feet aching, but you can't stop. Something's pulling you forward, like the city itself is whispering, drawing you into its mysteries. You pause at a dark alley where the sound of trickling water echoes from a sewer grate. You look down, and for a split second, you swear you see a pale hand rise from the shadows, then vanish. Would you dare step into that darkness? Or are you going to limp back to your dingy apartment, curl up on that straw mat, and pretend tomorrow will be any better? Up until now, are you still awake? If you are, let me know down in the comments. There are still many surprises ahead if you're staying up with me. So get ready. You're back in that dark alley, aren't you? The air's heavier now, thick with the damp chill of night and the faint, sour tang of something rotting nearby. Your heart's pounding, not just from the cold seeping through your threadbare tunic, but because you can't shake that image. The pale hand slipping back into the shadows of the sewer grate. You tell yourself it was nothing, just a trick of the flickering lamplight. But your feet hesitate, rooted to the cracked stone street. Rome's got its claws in you, and it's not letting go. You take a step back, your sandals scraping against the ground, and the sound feels too loud in the quiet. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks, sharp and frantic, then goes silent. Too silent. You glance around, half expecting that shifty-eyed guy from earlier to be lurking, his knife glinting in the dark. But the alley's empty, just you and the low hum of the city winding down. Or is it? That faint rumble under your feet. It's back. Not an ox cart this time. It's deeper, like the earth itself is breathing. You force yourself to move, turning away from the alley and heading toward the faint glow of a tavern across the street. Your legs ache, each step a reminder of the endless walking you've done today, dodging carts, crowds, and buckets of slop. The tavern's door is half-rotted wood, swinging open with a groan as you step inside. The air hits you like a wall, sweat, cheap wine, and the smoky burn of oil lamps. A dozen faces turn your way, some curious, some hostile, but most just tired. You're not the only one dragging through this city's grind. You slide onto a wobbly bench, and a barmaid with a scowl plops a clay cup in front of you. The wine inside looks murky, like it's been sitting in a barrel too long, but you sip anyway. It's sour, stinging your throat, but it's better than thinking about what's under the streets. The guy next to you, a burly man with a beard caked in dust, leans over. His breath smells like garlic and regret. "You look like someone who's seen something," he says, voice low. "What's got you so jumpy?" You hesitate. Do you tell him about the hand? The tunnels? The way Rome feels like it's watching you? Before you can decide, he laughs, a rough barking sound. "Let me guess. You heard the stories. The ones about what's down below." He leans closer, and you catch a whiff of his unwashed tunic, like damp wool left in a corner too long. Everyone's got a tale. My cousin swears he saw a shadow move in the cloaca once. Not a rat, mind you. Something bigger. You swallow, the wine turning to acid in your stomach. "What kind of thing?" you ask, though part of you doesn't want to know. He grins, showing a gap where a tooth should be. The kind that doesn't like being disturbed. Old Rome's full of ghosts, friend. And they don't stay in their graves. You want to laugh it off, but the weight of the day, the smells, the sounds, the constant feeling of something wrong, makes it hard. You take another sip, trying to focus on the tavern's noise. The clink of cups, the slurred arguments, the occasional burst of laughter. But your mind keeps drifting back to the sewers, the catacombs, the stories. You're not just in Rome anymore. You're in a city built on secrets, and every step you take is on top of something hidden. You leave the tavern, the cold night air slapping your face as you step back onto the street. The lamps are fewer now, casting long, wavering shadows that seem to move when you're not looking. You're headed back to your insula, desperate for sleep, but the city won't let you off that easy. As you pass a crumbling wall, you notice something carved into the stone, graffiti, but not the kind you'd expect. It's a crude drawing of a labyrinth, with a single word scratched beneath it. Moors. Death. Your stomach twists. You've heard about Rome's underworld, not just the sewers, but the deeper places, quarries, tunnels, and chambers carved out long before the city was anything more than a village. These were the third secret, the carceri, the forgotten prisons beneath the earth. The Romans didn't just lock their criminals in cells. Some, the worst ones, or the ones who pissed off the wrong senator, were thrown into these underground pits, left to rot in darkness. You try to imagine it. The suffocating blackness, the drip of water, the scratch of claws on stone. How long would you last before you started screaming? You keep walking, faster now. The graffiti burned into your mind. The street slopes downward, leading you toward the Tiber River, its waters glinting under the moonlight. The smell of mud and fish grows stronger, mixing with the ever-present sewer stink. You're not far from a forum, the heart of Rome, where the rich and powerful strut around like they own the gods themselves. But even here, the ground beneath you isn't what it seems. You pause at a bridge, its stone worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, and lean over to look at the river. The water's dark, almost black, but you catch a faint reflection, not of the moon, but of something else. A shape, maybe. Or maybe you're just tired. A voice startles you. Careful, friend. The river's got eyes. You spin around to see an old woman, hunched and wrapped in a shawl that looks like it's been through a war. Her eyes are sharp, too sharp for someone who looks half dead. "What do you mean?" you ask, your voice shakier than you'd like. She cackles, a dry, rattling sound. "You think the cloaca's the only thing under this city? There are older places. Places even the priests don't talk about." She shuffles closer, and you catch the smell of herbs and something bitter, like burnt bone. "They say the first kings built their altars on top of caves," she whispers. "Caves where they made deals with things that weren't gods. You ever wonder why Rome's so cursed? Why every triumph ends in blood? You want to back away, but her words pin you in place. Go look under the Palatine Hill, she says, pointing a bony finger toward the shadowy outline of the hill where Rome's elite live in their marble palaces. But don't say I didn't warn you. You mumble something and hurry off, her laughter chasing you down the street. The Palatine Hill. You've heard stories about it, Rome's birthplace, where Romulus and Remus were supposedly raised by a wolf. But caves? Deals with things that aren't gods? Your skin prickles, and it's not just the cold. You're almost at your insula now, the familiar stench of the building's courtyard, a mix of urine, smoke, and despair, welcoming you back. You climb the rickety stairs, each step creaking louder than the last, and collapse onto your straw mat. It's no softer than it was this morning, but you're too exhausted to care. You lie there, staring at the cracked ceiling, the old woman's words looping in your head. Caves, curses, the Palatine. You try to sleep, but every creak of the building, every distant shout, sounds like something else. Something closer. You pull the thin blanket over you, but it does nothing to stop the chill creeping up your spine. You're starting to understand Rome, not as a city of glory, but as a place built on shadows. Every temple, every street, every grand monument is just a mask, hiding what's below. Morning comes too soon. The sun's barely up, but the city's already screaming. Vendors hawking their wares, carts rattling, neighbors cursing through the walls. You drag yourself up, your body sore, your mouth tasting like last night's awful wine. You need to eat, but your coin pouch is pathetically light. You head to the market, hoping to scrounge something cheap. The streets are packed again, the air thick with dust and the sharp smell of fresh bread you can't afford. You settle for a handful of overripe figs from a vendor who looks like he'd rather spit in your face than sell to you. As you chew the mushy fruit, you notice a crowd gathering near the forum. Curious, you push through, ignoring the elbows jabbing your ribs. At the center is a priest, his white robe stained with blood, chanting over a pile of animal entrails. The crowd's murmuring, some in awe, some in fear. You catch snippets of their words. The gods are angry something's wrong under the hill. Your blood runs cold. The Palatine Hill again. You remember the old woman's warning. And now this. You edge closer, trying to hear the priest, but a hand grabs your arm. It's the bearded guy from the tavern, his face grim. You don't want to be here, he says, pulling you back. Not today. You try to ask why, but he's already gone, swallowed by the crowd. The priest's voice rises, sharp and frantic, and you catch one word: sacrificium, sacrifice. You don't know what's happening, but you know you need to get out of here. You turn, your heart racing, and head toward the river again. The streets are narrower here, the buildings leaning in like they're trying to trap you. You pass another sewer grate, and this time you hear it, a low, guttural sound, like a moan carried on the wind. You freeze, your breath catching. It's not your imagination. Something's down there, and it's not human. You back away, your sandal catching on a loose stone, and you nearly fall. When you look down, you see it, a crack in the street, wide enough to slip a hand through, and from it, a faint, sickly glow. You run. You don't care where, just away from that crack, that sound, that glow. Rome's secrets are starting to feel less like stories and more like traps. And you're caught right in the middle. How long can you keep running before the city drags you under? Up until now, are you still awake? If you are, let me know down in the comments. There are still many surprises ahead if you're staying up with me. So get ready. Your lungs burn as you stumble through Rome's narrow streets, the taste of dust and panic coating your tongue. The glow from that crack in the street, that guttural moan, it's seared into your mind, chasing you like a shadow you can't shake. Your sandal strap is fraying, slapping against your ankle with every frantic step, and the uneven cobblestones threaten to twist your foot. The city's alive around you, a chaotic swirl of shouting vendors, bleeding goats, and the ever-present stink of sweat and sewage. But it feels like a stage, like Rome's putting on a show to distract you from what's really going on beneath. You duck into a side street, narrower than the last. The walls so close you can feel the damp stone brushing your shoulders. Your chest heaves, and you lean against a wall, the cold biting into your palms. You're trying to catch your breath, but the air's thick, heavy with the smell of mold and something sharper, like metal or blood. You glance back, half expecting to see that sickly glow oozing up from the ground. But there's nothing, just the dim flicker of a distant lamp and the faint drip of water somewhere nearby. You're safe. For now. You straighten up, wiping sweat from your brow, and notice where you are. This isn't just any alley. The walls are older, the stones worn smooth not by feet, but by time. Their edges softened like they've been here since the gods were young. You're near the Palatine Hill, the place that old woman warned you about last night. Her words claw at you. Caves. Deals with things that aren't gods. You want to turn back, to find your miserable insula, and hide under that scratchy blanket, but something pulls you forward. Curiosity? Stupidity? Or maybe Rome itself, whispering through the cracks in the earth. You follow the alley as it slopes upward, the ground rising toward the Palatine. The noise of the city fades, replaced by an eerie quiet, broken only by the crunch of gravel under your feet and the occasional skitter of a rat. The air grows cooler, damper, and you catch a new smell, earthy like freshly turned soil, but with a sour undertone that makes your stomach churn. You round a corner and stop dead. Before you is a low archway, half hidden by vines, carved into the hillside. It's not a door, not exactly. It's a mouth, dark and gaping, leading somewhere deep beneath the Palatine. You step closer, your heart hammering, so loud you're sure someone will hear it. The archway's edges are rough, etched with faint symbols, circles, lines, shapes that don't quite make sense. You trace one with your finger, and the stone is cold, unnaturally, so, like it's sucking the warmth from your skin. You pull back, your breath catching, and that's when you hear it, a low hum, barely audible, coming from inside. It's not a sound you hear with your ears. It's in your bones, vibrating through you like a warning. You should run. Every instinct screams it. But you don't. You take a step into the archway, and the darkness swallows you whole. The air changes instantly, thick and heavy, like you're breathing through a wet cloth. Your eyes strain, catching faint glimmers of light, maybe moss, maybe something else, on the tunnel walls. The ground slopes downward, slick under your sandals, and you steady yourself against the wall, your fingers brushing something smooth and curved. You freeze, your breath hitching. It's bone. A skull, embedded in the stone, its empty sockets staring at you. You yank your hand back, your pulse racing. This is no ordinary tunnel. This is the fourth secret, the sacred caves of the Palatine, older than Rome itself. Legends say the first kings used these places for rituals, not the kind with incense and prayers, but the kind that left blood on the walls and screams in the air. You try to focus to remember the stories, but the hum is louder now, pulsing in your skull, and the air feels alive, pressing against your skin like 1,000 tiny hands. You move deeper, one cautious step at a time, the tunnel narrowing until you have to hunch. The walls are closer, the bones more frequent, ribs, femurs, fragments woven into the rock, like some grotesque tapestry. You're not alone down here. You can feel it, a presence just beyond your sight, watching. Your sandal slips on something wet, and you look down to see a dark puddle, too thick to be water. Blood? Or something older, something that's been seeping through the earth for centuries? You don't want to know, but you can't stop now. The tunnel's pulling you in, like a tide you can't fight. The hum crescendos, and the tunnel opens into a chamber. its ceiling lost in shadow. You squint, your eyes adjusting, and see an altar at the center. Rough stone, stained black, with deep grooves carved into its surface. The grooves lead to channels in the floor, spiraling outward like a maze. You don't need to guess what they're for. The air here is wrong, heavy with the smell of iron and decay, and the hum is deafening, rattling kindred. You step closer to the altar, drawn despite yourself, and see something glinting in the dark, a small, bronze figurine, humanoid but twisted, its face a snarling mask. You reach for it, your hand trembling, but a sound stops you cold. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate, echoing from a tunnel behind you. You spin around, but the darkness is absolute, swallowing any hint of who or what is coming. Your mouth goes dry, and you back away, your heel catching on one of those cursed channels. You stumble, catching yourself on the altar, and the figurine falls, clattering against the stone with a sound that's too loud, too final. The footsteps stop. Silence presses in, thicker than the dark. You hold your breath, every muscle screaming to run. But where? The tunnel's a trap, and you're already too deep. Then a voice, not human, not entirely, whispers your name. It's not a sound you hear. It's inside you, crawling through your thoughts like a worm. You clamp your hands over your ears, but it doesn't help. The voice laughs, low and wet, and the air shifts, growing colder, heavier, like the chamber itself is closing in. You bolt. You don't care about the altar, the figurine, or the bones. You run, your sandals slapping against the slick stone, your hands scraping the walls as you stumble through the dark. The tunnel twists, narrowing, and you're not sure if you're heading out or deeper in. The hum follows you, a relentless drone, and the voice is still there, whispering things you can't understand but feel in your gut. Promises, threats, truths you don't want to know. Your chest burns, your legs scream, but you keep running until the ground levels out, and you see a faint glow ahead. You burst out of the archway, collapsing onto the gravel outside, the night air hitting you like a slap. You're back on the Palatine, the city sprawling below, its lamps twinkling like nothing's wrong. But everything's wrong. Your hands are shaking, your tunic soaked with sweat and something else, something dark and sticky you don't want to look at. You scramble to your feet, your eyes darting to the archway, but it's just a black hole now, silent and still. Did you imagine it? No. The hum's gone, but your bones still feel it. And that voice, it's not gone. It's not gone. You stagger down the hill, the city waking up around you. The market's buzzing, vendors shouting, carts rattling. But you barely notice. You're alive, but Rome's secrets aren't done with you. You pass a priest, his robes pristine this time, chanting over a small fire. He glances at you, his eyes narrowing, and you hurry past, your heart still racing. You need to get back to your insula, to hide, to forget. But as you weave through the crowd, you see it again, graffiti on a wall, the same labyrinth from before, but now with a new word. Cave. Beware. You reach your building, climbing the stairs on trembling legs, and collapse onto your mat. The straw digs into your skin, but you don't care. You're safe. For now. But as you lie there, staring at the ceiling, you know sleep won't come. The city's alive beneath you, its secrets pulsing like a heartbeat. You close your eyes, and the hum returns, faint but undeniable, a reminder that Rome never forgets. What would you sacrifice to keep those caves sealed? Or are you already too deep to turn back? Are you still awake? If you are, drop a comment below and let me know. Trust me, the best surprises are yet to come, and they're only for those still here with me. Stay tuned. You're lying on that miserable straw mat, the coarse fibers jabbing into your back like a bed of nails. But it's not the discomfort keeping you awake. It's the hum, that bone-deep vibration from the Palatine cave. still lingering in your chest like a bad cold. Your eyes are heavy, but every time you close them, you see it, the altar, the twisted figurine, the dark stains on the stone, and that voice slithering through your thoughts, whispering your name. You pull the thin blanket tighter, but it's useless against the chill that's not just from the drafty insula. Rome's under your skin now, and it's not letting go. The city doesn't care about your sleepless night. Dawn breaks with a vengeance, the clamor of the streets crashing through the walls, vendors hawking, carts creaking, and someone in the next room hacking up what sounds like their entire lung. You force yourself up, your body aching like you've been dragged behind a chariot. Your tunic still damp from last night's sweat and whatever that sticky muck was from the cave. You don't look at it. You don't want to know. You splash your face with water from a cracked jug, the cold stinging your skin, but it does nothing to wash away the dread pooling in your gut. You need to eat, to move, to do something normal to shake off the feeling that you're marked, that something saw you in that cave and followed you out. You stumble down the creaky stairs, the familiar stench of the insula's courtyard. Urine, smoke, and despair, hitting you like a slap. The streets are already packed, a sweaty, shouting mess of people, animals, and dust. You push through, your sandals grinding against the uneven stones, and head for the market. Maybe food will ground you, make Rome feel like a city again instead of a living, breathing trap. The market's a riot of colors and smells, bright piles of figs and olives, the sharp tang of cheese, the metallic bite of freshly butchered meat. But it's the undercurrent that gets you, the faint whiff of sewage, the reminder that the cloaca maxima is never far away. You barter a few coins for a handful of dates, sticky and too sweet, but you chew them anyway, the sugar hitting your empty stomach like a spark. You're trying to focus on the mundane, but your eyes keep darting to the ground, to the cracks in the street, to the grates where shadows seem to move just out of sight. You're not imagining it. You can't be. Last night wasn't a dream, and the graffiti, Moore's Cave, is everywhere now, scratched into walls, etched on barrels, even scrawled in the dust at your feet. You stop at a baker's stall, the smell of fresh bread almost enough to distract you, and overhear two women whispering. They found another one. One says, her voice low, her eyes darting, in the river, half-eaten like the last. The other crosses herself, muttering a prayer to Juno. You want to ask what they mean, but the baker shoves a loaf at you, barking, buy or move. You fumble a coin, grab the bread, and hurry off, their words clawing at you. Half-eaten. Buy what? You're not hungry anymore, but you tear into the bread anyway, the crust rough against your lips. It's warm, better than yesterday's rock-hard chunk. But every bite feels like defiance, like you're proving you're still here, still human. You weave through the crowd, past a juggler tossing knives, past a soothsayer ranting about omens, and find a quiet corner near the forum. You sit on a low wall, the stone warm from the sun, and try to think. The Palatine Cave, the tunnels, the voice, it's all connected, isn't it? To the sewers, the catacombs, the carceri, to Rome itself. You're not alone. A shadow falls over you, and you look up to see a girl, maybe 16, her face smudged with dirt, her eyes sharp and wary. She's clutching a basket of wilted herbs, but she's not selling. She's watching you. You were there, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. Under the hill. Your blood runs cold. How does she know? You start to deny it, but she cuts you off. Don't lie. I saw you come out. You're not the first. You lean forward, your voice low. What do you mean, not the first? She glances around, then sits beside you, close enough that you smell the thyme in her basket and the fear on her skin. People go in, she says. Not everyone comes out. The ones who do, they're different. Like you. You want to argue, to say you're fine, but your trembling hands betray you. She lowers her voice even more. There's a place under the forum, too, older than the caves. They call it the Lacus Curtius. You've heard the name, a pit in the forum, said to be cursed, where a warrior once rode his horse into the earth to appease the gods. A myth, you thought, but the girl's eyes tell a different story. It's no story, she says, reading your doubt. It's a door to something they tried to bury. She pauses, her fingers tightening on the basket. My brother went looking. He didn't come back. Your mouth goes dry. You want to ask more, but a shout from the crowd cuts through. A commotion near the forum center. You both stand, drawn to the noise. A group of priests is gathered, their robes fluttering like vultures' wings, chanting over a patch of ground. The crowd's buzzing, some praying, some cursing. You push closer, the girl at your side, and see it, a crack in the earth, not unlike the one you saw yesterday, but wider, deeper. A faint mist rises from it, curling like fingers, and the air smells wrong, sulfur, rot, and something sweeter, like overripe fruit. The priests are frantic, tossing handfuls of salt and ash into the crack, their voices rising in a desperate hymn. The crowd's whispers grow louder. The gods are angry, it's waking up the pit. You glance at the girl, but she's gone, slipped away like a ghost. You're alone again, the bread forgotten in your hand, the hum from the cave back in your bones. This is the fifth secret, the Lacus Curtius, not just a legend, but a wound in the earth, a place where Rome's sins were buried and never quite died. You back away, your heart pounding, but the crowd's too thick, pressing you closer to the crack. You catch a glimpse of something inside, not light, not shadow, but movement, slow and deliberate. Like a snake unco, you stumble back, your sandal catching on a stone, and someone grabs your arm, pulling you free. It's the bearded man from the tavern, his face grim. You don't want to see this, he says, his grip tight. Not yet. You try to protest, but he's strong, dragging you through the crowd until you're back in the market. The crack out of sight, but not out of mind. He lets you go, his eyes searching yours. You've been poking around, he says, not a question. Stop, before you end up like the others. You start to ask what he means, but he's already walking away, his broad shoulders disappearing into the throng. You're shaking, the breadcrumbs clinging to your fingers, the hum louder now, a drumbeat in your skull. You need to get away, to think, but Rome doesn't give you that luxury. The market's closing up, the vendors packing their wares, the air growing cooler as the sun dips low. You head toward the river, the Tiber's muddy banks, offering a moment of quiet. You sit on the grass, the damp seeping through your tunic, and stare at the water. It's calmer here, but the current hides its own secrets, carrying debris and worse downstream. You think of the women's whispers, half-eaten, and your stomach turns. You're starting to understand. The cloaca, the catacombs, the carceri, the caves, the Lacus Curtius, they're not separate. They're veins, pulsing with something ancient, something hungry. You stand, brushing off the grass, and notice a glint in the mud. You kneel, your fingers brushing something cold and hard, a coin old and worn, with a face you don't recognize. You pocketed a small act of defiance, but as you do, you hear it, a low, wet growl, not from the river, but from the ground beneath you. You freeze, your breath shallow, and the hum spikes, sharp and painful. You're not alone. You run, the coin heavy in your pocket, the growl fading, but not gone. You reach your insula, panting, and collapse on your mat. The city's quiet now, but it's a lie. You clutch the coin, its edges biting into your palm, and wonder how much longer you can keep running. Rome's secrets are waking up, and they know your name. How deep are you willing to dig before the earth swallows you whole? If you're still listening, let me know in the comments below. The real surprises haven't even started yet. Stay with me. You're not going to want to miss what's coming. The coin in your hand feels heavier than it should. its cold edges biting into your palm as you lie on the straw mat, the insula's damp walls closing in around you. The hum from the Palatine cave is still there, a faint pulse in your bones, but it's joined by something new, a low, rhythmic throb, like the city's heartbeat, syncing with your own. You try to focus on the sounds outside, the distant clatter of a cart, the muffled curses of a neighbor, the drip of rainwater through the cracked ceiling. But they're just noise, a flimsy curtain over the truth. Rome's awake, and it's watching you. You haven't slept. Not really. Your eyes burn, your body aches, and the memory of that growl by the river clings to you like the mud on your sandals. You roll the coin between your fingers, its worn surface catching the dim light filtering through a hole in the roof. The face on it isn't Caesar or any god, just a sharp, angular profile, eyes too large, mouth twisted into something between a sneer and a scream. You shove it under the mat, but the weight of it lingers, like it's still in your hand, still watching. You force yourself up, your joints creaking, and splash your face with water from the jug. It's stale, gritty, leaving a film on your skin, but it's enough to jolt you awake. You can't stay here, not with the walls feeling like they're listening, not with that coin burning a hole in your mind. You need air, people, something to remind you you're still part of the world above ground. You stumble down the stairs, the wood groaning under your weight, and step into the morning chaos of Rome. The streets are a living beast, snarling with vendors, beggars, and soldiers, the air thick with the smells of bread, sweat, and the ever-present sewage tang. Your stomach growls, but the thought of food turns it sour. You keep moving, your sandals slapping against the stones, your eyes scanning for anything familiar, anything safe. But Rome's different today. The graffitis everywhere, Moors cave, and now new ones, Subterra, underworld. You pass a wall where the labyrinth symbol from before is scratched deep, fresh enough that the stone dust still clings to the ground. Someone's sending a message, and you're starting to think it's for you. You head toward the forum again, drawn like a moth to a flame. It's a mistake, you know it, but you can't stop. The crowd's thicker today, buzzing with a nervous energy that prickles your skin. You push through, ignoring the elbows and glares, until you're near the center, where the priests were yesterday. The crack in the ground, the Lacus Curtius, is still there, cordoned off with ropes and guarded by two grim-faced men in armor. The mist is gone, but the air around it feels heavy, like it's holding its breath. A small altar's been set up nearby, piled with offerings, flowers, coins, a bloodied dove with its neck snapped. You're staring too long when a hand clamps onto your shoulder. You flinch, spinning to see a woman, middle-aged, her face lined but her eyes sharp as knives. She's dressed better than most, her tunic clean, her hair pinned with bronze. "You've seen it, haven't you?" she says, her voice low, urgent. "The pit." You hesitate, your throat tight, but she doesn't wait for an answer. "Come with me." Now, she's already moving, weaving through the crowd with purpose, and you follow, because what else can you do? She leads you to a narrow street, away from the forum's noise, and stops at a small shop, its shelves lined with clay jars and bundles of herbs. The air inside is sharp with a scent of sage and something bitter, like burnt resin. She shuts the door, the wood scraping against the frame, and turns to you. "My name's Livia," she says, her eyes searching yours. "And you're in deeper than you know." You start to protest, but she cuts you off. "Don't play dumb. The caves, the coin, the hum. You've touched something you shouldn't have." Your blood runs cold. How does she know about the coin? You haven't told anyone. You open your mouth, but she's already moving, pulling a small wooden box from a shelf. She opens it, revealing a handful of objects, bone fragments, a rusted knife, a stone carved with the same labyrinth you've seen everywhere. "These came from below," she says, "from the places Rome once forgotten." She picks up the stone, her fingers tracing the lines. This is the sixth secret, the Arx Subterranea, the hidden fortress. You lean closer, despite yourself, the hum in your chest flaring at her words. A fortress, you ask, your voice hoarse. She nods, her expression grim. Not for soldiers, for priests, for kings, for the ones who made pacts with the dark. She sets the stone down, her hand trembling slightly. Rome wasn't built on 7 hills. It was built on blood, and the Arx is where they spilled it. Under the Forum, under the Lacus Curtius, under everything. You want to laugh, to call her crazy, but the hum's too loud now, and the coin's weight is back, pressing against your mind even though it's hidden under your mat. Why are you telling me this, you ask? Livia's eyes soften, just for a moment. Because you're marked, she says. Like I was. Like others before us. The city chooses its keepers, whether they want it or not. She pauses, her voice dropping. And its victims. Your stomach twists. You're about to ask what she means when a knock at the door makes you both jump. Livia's face hardens, and she shoves the box back onto the shelf. Go, she says, pushing you toward a back door. Don't come back here. And don't trust anyone. You want to argue, to demand answers, but the knock comes again, louder, and you're out the door, stumbling into a cramped alley that smells of rotting fruit and ash. You're running again, your heart pounding, Livia's words looping in your head. Marked. Keepers. Victims. The alley spits you out near the Tiber, the river's sluggish current glinting under the midday sun. You stop, panting, and lean against a crumbling wall, the stone warm against your back. You're trying to make sense of it all, the caves, the pit, the fortress, but it's too much, a knot you can't untangle. You slide to the ground, your tunic catching on the rough stone, and bury your face in your hands. You don't know how long you sit there, but a shadow falls over you, and you look up to see the girl from yesterday, the one with the herbs. Her face is paler now, her eyes hollow. You didn't listen, she says, her voice flat. You went back to the Forum. You start to explain, but she shakes her head. It's too late. They know. Before you can ask who, she's gone, slipping into the crowd like she was never there. You're on your feet, your legs shaky, and you head back toward the market, needing the noise, the normalcy. But the city's turning against you. The graffiti's bolder now, the labyrinth's larger, some smeared with what looks like blood. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum spikes, so sharp it makes your teeth ache. You keep moving, your eyes on the ground, avoiding the cracks, the grates, the shadows. You're almost at the market when you hear it. A scream, raw and terrified, cut off too soon. You freeze, your breath catching. The sound came from a side street, dark and narrow, the kind of place you'd avoid even on a good day. You should keep walking, pretend you heard nothing, but your feet move before your brain catches up. You peer into the street, the air thick with the smell of damp stone and something coppery. At the far end, near a pile of broken crates, you see it, a body slumped against the wall, its tunic torn, its face hidden. You take a step closer, your heart in your throat, and realize it's not just a body. It's the bearded man from the tavern, his throat slashed, his eyes wide and empty. You stumble back, bile rising in your throat, and run. The market's a blur, faces and voices melting into a single, suffocating roar. You don't stop until you're back at your insula, your chest heaving, your hands shaking as you claw your way up the stairs. You collapse on the mat, the coin's presence a scream in your mind. You dig it out, staring at that twisted face, and for a moment you swear it moves, its mouth curling into a smile. You throw it across the room, the clatter echoing like a gunshot. The hum's deafening now, the throb of Rome's heart drowning out everything else. You're not just a bystander anymore. You're part of this, tangled in the city's secrets, and there's no way out. You curl up, the straw digging into your skin, and wonder how much longer you can fight before Rome claims you for good. What's worse than being marked by a city that never forgets? If you're still listening, you're part of a rare few. And I see you. Leave a comment so I know you're still here, because what's coming next might just be the most surprising part of all. The straw mat beneath you feels like a cage. Each prick of the coarse fibers a reminder that you're trapped, not just in this rotting insula, but in Rome itself. The coin lies where you threw it, glinting in the corner like a malevolent eye, its twisted face mocking you. The hum in your chest is relentless now, a low, grinding pulse that syncs with the city's rhythm, drowning out the drip of rainwater through the ceiling and the distant shouts from the street. Your hands tremble, still stained with the memory of the bearded man's blood, though you never touched him. His slashed throat, his empty eyes, they're burned into you, as real as the coin, as real as the hum. You haven't moved in hours, curled on the mat, your knees pulled to your chest. The air's thick, heavy with the smell of mold and your own sour sweat. You want to run, to leave Rome and its cursed secrets behind. But where would you go? The city's a labyrinth, above and below, and you're caught in its threads. You force yourself to sit up, your back screaming from the effort, and your eyes dart to the coin. You can't leave it there. It's not just metal. It's a piece of whatever's waking up beneath the streets. You crawl over, your fingers brushing the cold surface, and shove it into your pocket. It burns against your thigh, but you'd rather carry it than let it watch you. You need to move, to do something before the walls close in completely. You stumble to your feet, your legs shaky, and splash your face with the last of the jug's gritty water. It stings, but it's enough to snap you out of the haze. You're not dead yet, and you're not going to sit here waiting for whatever killed the bearded man to find you. You head down the stairs, the wood creaking like it's laughing at you, and step into the street. The morning's gray, the air damp with the threat of rain, and the city's alive with its usual chaos. Vendors shouting, carts rattling, the stench of fish and sewage hanging like a fog. You keep your head down, your hand in your pocket, gripping the coin like it's an anchor. The streets are packed, but you feel alone, every face a potential threat. The graffiti's worst today, Subterra scrawled in jagged lines, labyrinths smeared with what could be mud or blood. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum spikes, a jolt that makes your teeth clench. You walk faster, your sandals slapping against the stones, aiming for the one place you might find answers. Livia's shop. She knew about the coin, the Arx Subterranea. She called you marked. If anyone can help, it's her. The market's a blur, the smells of bread and roasted meat doing nothing to ease the knot in your stomach. You weave through the crowd, dodging a cart piled with cabbages and a beggar who grabs at your tunic with filthy hands. You're almost at Livia's street when you see her, the herb girl, her basket empty, her face gaunt. She's standing by a wall, staring at a fresh labyrinth graffito, her fingers tracing the lines. You hesitate, but she turns, her eyes locking onto yours. You're still here, she says, her voice hollow. You shouldn't be. You step closer, your voice low. What do you know about the pit, the fortress? Her eyes widen, and she shakes her head, backing away. Don't ask. Don't look. Just leave. You grab her arm, desperate, but she twists free, her basket falling, herbs scattering across the stones. They're watching, she hisses, then bolts, disappearing into the crowd. You kneel to pick up a sprig of thyme, its sharp scent grounding you for a moment, but the hum's back, louder, and you know you're running out of time. You reach Livia's shop, the door slightly ajar, the air inside heavy with that same bitter resin smell. You push in, the wood scraping against the frame, and freeze. The shelves are toppled, jars shattered, herbs and clay shards crunching under your sandals. Livia's gone. or worse. You step deeper, your heart pounding, and see it, a smear of blood on the counter, still wet, trailing toward the back door. You follow, your hand on the coin, and find the door open, leading to the alley where Livia sent you last time. The blood stops at the threshold, like whoever, or whatever, took or didn't need to leave a trail. You're shaking, but you can't stop now. You step into the alley, the walls looming, the air thick with rot and damp. The hum's deafening, a roar in your skull, and you feel it. The city's pulling you, guiding you. You follow the alley, your sandals sinking into the muck until you reach a low, crumbling wall. Beyond it is a sunken courtyard, overgrown with weeds, and at its center, a stone slab, cracked and moss-covered. You know what it is before you see the symbols carved into it. Another entrance to the Arks Subterranea. You kneel, your fingers brushing the stone, and the hum becomes a scream, sharp enough to make your vision blur. The slab's heavy, but it shifts when you push, revealing a dark shaft, a ladder of rusted iron rungs disappearing into the void. You shouldn't go down. You know it. But Livia's gone, the bearded man's dead, and the girl's warning, they're watching, is a chain around your neck. You climb down, the rungs cold and slick, the air growing thicker with every step. The light fades, and you're in darkness, the hum a living thing wrapping around you. The ladder ends, and your feet hit stone, the impact jarring your knees. You're in a tunnel, narrower than the Palatine Cave, the walls slick with something that smells like decay. You move forward, one hand on the wall, the other clutching a coin. The tunnel slopes downward, the air colder, heavier, until it opens into a chamber, its walls lined with niches, hundreds of them, each holding a skull, their empty sockets staring. You stifle a gasp, your breath clouding in the chill, and see the center of the room, a circular pit, its edges carved with labyrinths, its depths lost in shadow. This is the Arks Subterranea, the hidden fortress Livia spoke of, where Rome's darkest pacts were sealed. You step closer, the hum of physical weight, and see offerings scattered around the pit, bones, rusted weapons, coins like yours, their twisted faces gleaming in the faint light of bioluminescent moss. You pull the coin from your pocket, its weight unbearable, and hold it over the pit. You could drop it, let it fall, maybe break whatever hold it has on you. But the hum shifts, becoming a voice, not whispering your name this time, but commanding, "Stay." You freeze, your hand trembling, the coin burning your skin. The air thickens, and you hear it, footsteps, not from the tunnel, but from the pit itself, slow and deliberate, climbing up. You back away, your sandal catching on a bone, and it clatters across the floor, the sound echoing like a thunderclap. The footsteps stop, and the silence is worse, heavy with intent. You turn to run, but the tunnel's gone, the walls closer, the skulls seeming to grin. You're trapped, the pit's edge inches from your feet, the hum a scream that drowns out your thoughts. You don't know how you escape. One moment you're staring into the pit, the next you're scrambling up the ladder, your hands slipping on the rungs, your lungs burning. You burst into the courtyard, the slab slamming shut behind you, and collapse in the weeds, gasping. The hum's quieter now, but it's still there, a reminder that you didn't win. You just delayed the inevitable. You're covered in sweat and grime, the coin still in your hand, its face unchanged but heavier, like it's carrying the weight of what you saw. You stagger back to the streets, the city's noise crashing over you like a wave. The market's in full swing, but you barely notice, your eyes fixed on the ground, avoiding the grates, the cracks, the graffiti. You pass a priest, his robe splattered with blood, chanting over a small fire. He glances at you, his eyes narrowing, and you hurry past, the coin a burning coal in your pocket. You're back at your insula before you realize it, climbing the stairs on autopilot, collapsing on the mat. You don't touch the coin. You can't. but you feel it, even through the fabric, even through the straw. The hum's softer now, but it's not gone, and neither is the voice, lingering like a bruise. "You're marked," Livia said, and you believe her now. The Ark Subterranea isn't just a place. It's a promise, a debt Rome's been collecting for centuries. You curl up, the straw digging into your skin, and wonder how much longer you can run before the city calls adieu. What do you do when the ground itself wants you dead? If you're still here, you're not just watching, you're part of the journey. Type "I'm still with you" in the comments, so I know who stayed. The next part might just change the way you see everything, so don't look away now. The straw mat is no longer just uncomfortable. It's a torment, each prick of the coarse fibers a needle in your skin, a reminder that Rome's grip on you is tightening. You're curled up, your knees to your chest, the coin burning a hole in your pocket, its weight a constant pressure, like a hand pressing down on your soul. The hum is quieter now, a dull throb in your bones, but it's never gone, and neither is the voice from the Ark Subterranea, slithering through your thoughts, not speaking but feeling, a cold, insistent pull that says you're not done. You haven't slept, not really, your eyes gritty, your body heavy with a kind of exhaustion that sleep can't fix. The city's heartbeat pulses beneath you, through the floor, through the walls. And you know it's not just Rome anymore. It's something older, hungrier, and it knows your name. You force yourself to move, uncurling with a groan, your joints protesting like rusted hinges. The air in the insula is stale, thick with the smell of damp wood and the faint, sour tang of your own fear. You reach for the jug, but it's empty, the last drop's long gone. You don't care. You need to get out, to breathe air that doesn't feel like it's watching you. You stand, your legs wobbly, and glance the corner where you threw the coin last night. It's still there, or maybe it's in your pocket. You can't tell anymore, the line between reality and Rome's tricks blurring with every passing hour. You stumble down the stairs, the wood creaking under your weight, and step into the street. The morning's raw, the sky a bruised gray, the air heavy with the threat of rain. The city's awake, as always, a churning mess of shouts, clattering carts, and the ever-present stench of sewage and smoke. You pull your tunic tighter, the fabric stiff with dried sweat and grime, and move through the crowd, your hand never leaving the coin in your pocket. It's a reflex now, like clutching a weapon, though you're not sure it's protecting you or marking you further. The streets feel different today, sharper, like the city's edges have been honed to cut. The graffiti's everywhere, subterra, cave, moors, but now there are new symbols, jagged lines that look like claws, smeared in what you hope is paint, but fear is blood. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum flares, a spike of pain behind your eyes that makes you stumble. A vendor grabs your arm, his grip rough, shoving a handful of shriveled figs at you. "Eat, you look half dead," he barks, but his eyes linger too long, like he sees something you don't. You mumble a refusal and hurry on, the fig's sickly sweet smell clinging to you like a bad memory. You're not sure where you're going, but your feet lead you toward the Forum, the heart of Rome's chaos and secrets. It's a mistake, you know it, but the city's pulling you, a current you can't fight. The crowd's thicker today, buzzing with a feverish energy that sets your teeth on edge. You push through, ignoring the elbows and curses, until you're near the Lacus Curtius. The crack in the ground is still roped off, the guards grimmer, their hands on their swords. The altar's gone, replaced by a fresh pile of offerings, bones, wilted flowers, a child's clay doll with its head smashed. The air smells of ash and something sweeter, like rotting fruit, and the hum's louder here, a drumbeat in your skull. You're staring too long when a voice cuts through. You again. You turn to see the priest from yesterday, his robes cleaner, but his eyes just as sharp. He's alone, his hands clasped behind his back, but there's a weight to him, like he's carrying more than his own body. "You shouldn't be here," he says, his voice low, almost kind. "Not after what you've seen." Your throat tightens, but you manage to ask, "What do you know?" He smiles, thin and cold, enough to know you're not ready. But the city doesn't care. He steps closer, and you catch a whiff of incense and blood, the same smell from the Palatine cave. "The Ark's subterranea," he says, his voice barely a whisper. "You found it, and it found you. You want to deny it, to run, but his eyes pin you in place. It's not just a place," he continues. "It's a pact. Rome's foundation sealed in blood. And you've touched it." He pauses, his gaze flicking to your pocket, where the coin burns. "Keep it close. Or don't. It won't matter." You back away, your heart pounding, but he doesn't follow. He just watches, that smile lingering, as you melt into the crowd. You're shaking, the hum a roar now. And you know he's right. The coin, the caves, the pit, they're not separate. They're Rome's roots, and you're tangled in them. You need answers, not from priests or vanished shopkeepers, but from the city itself. You head toward the Tiber, the river's muddy banks, calling you like a siren. It's quieter here. The water's sluggish flow a contrast to the city's frenzy, but you know better than to trust it. The Tiber hides its own secrets, carrying bodies and curses downstream. You sit on the bank, the damp grass soaking through your tunic, and pull the coin from your pocket. It's heavier now, or maybe that's your fear, but its face is the same, twisted, sneering, alive in a way metal shouldn't be. You turn it over, and for the first time, you notice something on the back, a single word, etched so faintly you have to squint. Red. Return. Your stomach drops. Return what? The coin? Yourself? You're about to hurl it into the river when a shadow falls over you. It's the girl with the herbs, her face paler than ever, her eyes red-rimmed like she hasn't slept either. "You didn't listen," she says, her voice brittle. "You kept it." She points at the coin, her hand trembling. You stand, clutching it tighter. "What do you know?" you demand. But she shakes her head, tears welling. "My brother had one too," she whispers. "He went to the Arks. He didn't come back." She pauses, her voice breaking. "It's not just a place. It's alive. And it's hungry." You want to comfort her, to say something, but she's already backing away, her eyes flicking to the river like she sees something you don't. "Throw it," she says, "before it's too late." Then she's gone, running along the bank, her footsteps swallowed by the city's din. You look at the coin, then the river, its surface rippling like it's waiting. You raise your hand, ready to toss it, but the hum spikes, a scream that makes your vision blur, and the voice is back, not whispering, but commanding. "Mine." Your hand freezes, the coin searing your skin, and you stumble back, the river's edge too close. You shove the coin back in your pocket, your breath ragged, and run. The city's a blur, the streets narrowing, the walls leaning in like they're trying to crush you. You don't know where you're going, but your feet carry you toward the Palatine, the hill looming like a predator. You're not thinking, just moving, the hum guiding you like a leash. You reach the old archway, the one that led to the cave, but it's different now. Vines torn away, the symbols glowing faintly like they're alive. You hesitate, your heart pounding, but the hum's too loud, the voice too strong. You step inside, the darkness swallowing you, the air thick with the smell of earth and blood. The tunnel's narrower, the walls closer, the bones more frequent, skulls, ribs, hands, woven into the stone like a warning. You're deeper now, deeper than before, and the hum's a song, pulling you toward something you can't see but feel. The tunnel opens into a new chamber, larger, its ceiling a dome of jagged rock. At its center is a pool, not water, but something black and viscous, rippling without wind. The air's heavy, the smell of iron and decay so thick you gag. You step closer, the coin burning in your pocket, and see shapes in the pool, faces, maybe, or memories, twisting and dissolving. The hum's a roar, the voice a chant. And you know this is it, the heart of the Arx Subterranea, where Rome's pacts were made, where its hunger lives. You pull the coin out, its face gleaming, and the pool ripples faster, the shapes sharpening. You see Livia, the bearded man, the girl's brother, their eyes empty, their mouths open in silent screams. You see yourself, your face twisted like the coins, and you drop it, the metal clattering against the stone. The pool surges, a wave of black rising, and you run, the tunnel collapsing behind you. The hum a scream that tears at your mind. You don't know how you escape, but you're outside, gasping. The city sprawling below, its lights mocking you. You're back in your insula, the straw mat your only refuge, but it's no refuge at all. The coin's gone, but you feel it, its weight in your soul. The hum's quieter, but it's not gone, and the voice is there waiting. You're marked deeper than ever, and Rome's hunger is growing. How do you fight a city that's already claimed you? Still watching? That means you're one of the few who truly pays attention. Comment, "I'm awake" below so I know you're with me. Because what's coming next will make everything before this feel like a warm-up. Stay close. You're sprawled on the straw mat, the coarse fibers digging into your skin like accusations. But it's not the discomfort that keeps you pinned. It's the absence of the coin, the empty space in your pocket where its weight used to burn, and the new weight in your chest, heavier, colder, like Rome itself has carved a piece of you out and filled it with something else. The hum is faint now, a whisper in your bones, but it's there, a constant reminder that you didn't escape the Arx Subterranea. You just carried it with you. The air in the insula is thick, sour with mold and the lingering stench of your own panic. And the city outside is waking, its shouts and clatters seeping through the walls like an unwelcome guest. You haven't moved since you collapsed here, your body aching, your mind replaying the black pool, the faces in it. Livia, the bearded man, yourself. Your tunic is stiff with sweat and grime, your sandals crusted with mud from the tunnel, but you can't bring yourself to care. You're not sure what's real anymore. The coin's gone, dropped into the abyss, but you feel it, its twisted face etched behind your eyes, its command, mine, echoing in the quiet. You roll onto your side, the straw crackling, and stare at the cracked ceiling, where a spider spins a web in the corner, oblivious to the city's hunger. You need to move, to prove you're still alive, still human. You drag yourself up, your joints screaming, and splash your face with the last dregs of water from a broken jug. It's gritty, leaving a film on your skin, but it's enough to jolt you awake. You can't stay here, not with the walls feeling like they're breathing, not with the hum waiting to flare. You stumble down the stairs, the wood groaning like it's tired of you, and step into the street. The morning's damp, the air heavy with the smell of rain and sewage, and Rome's chaos hits you like a wave. Vendors shouting, carts rattling, the crowd a living thing that swallows you whole. You keep your head down, your hand instinctively reaching for the coin that's no longer there. The streets are a maze, the stones uneven under your sandals, and the graffitis everywhere, subterra, cave, red, the last one mocking you, a reminder of the coin's final word. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum stirs, a low throb that makes your teeth ache. You walk faster, your heart pounding, aiming for the market, for noise, for anything to drown out the city's voice. But Rome's different now, sharper, like it's baring its teeth. The faces in the crowd seem wrong, eyes too wide, smiles too thin, like they know something you don't. You reach the market, the air thick with the smells of bread, fish, and sweat, but it's not comforting anymore. You barter a few coins for a handful of olives, their bitter tang grounding you for a moment. But your eyes keep darting to the ground, to the cracks, to the grates where shadows flicker. You're chewing, barely tasting, when you see her, the herb girl, standing by a stall, her basket empty, her face a mask of fear. She spots you and freezes, her eyes flicking to your pocket, like she's looking for the coin. You dropped it, she whispers, stepping closer. Her voice barely audible over the market's din, but it's not gone. You swallow, the olives turning to ash in your mouth. What do you mean, you ask? But she's already backing away, her eyes wide. It's in you now, she says, then turns and runs, her small frame disappearing into the crowd. You want to chase her, to demand answers, but your legs are lead, and the hum's growing, a pulse that syncs with your heartbeat. You shove the rest of the olives into your pocket, your hands shaking, and head toward the forum, drawn like a moth to a flame you know will burn. The forum's crowded, the air buzzing with tension, like the city's holding its breath. The Lacus Curtius is still roped off, the guards grimmer, their hands gripping their swords like they're expecting trouble. The crack in the ground is wider now, a faint mist curling from it, carrying that sweet, rotting smell that makes your stomach churn. A small crowd's gathered, whispering, praying, some tossing offerings, coins, flowers, a bloody drag into the mist. You stay back, your heart pounding, but you can't look away. The hum's louder here, a chant in your blood, and you feel it. The city's calling you, pulling you toward the crack. You're about to turn away when a hand grabs your arm, rough and unyielding. You spin to see a man, tall, his face scarred, his eyes cold as the Tiber's depths. He's not a priest, not a soldier, but there's power in him, a quiet menace that makes your skin crawl. You've been busy, he says, his voice low, cutting through the crowd's murmur, poking where you shouldn't. You try to pull free, but his grip tightens, his fingers digging into your arm. Who are you? You manage, your voice hoarse. He smiles, a predator's smile. Someone who cleans up messes. Like you. Your blood runs cold. You think of the bearded man, his throat slashed, and Livia, gone without a trace. I don't know anything, you lie, but he laughs, a dry, humorless sound. You know enough, he says, leaning closer, his breath hot with the smell of wine and iron. The Ark Subterranea, the pool. You saw it, and it saw you. He pauses, his eyes flicking to your chest, like he can see the hum pulsing there. You're part of it now, whether you want to be or not. You yank your arm free, stumbling back, and he doesn't follow, just watches as you melt into the crowd. Your heart's racing, the hum a roar, and you know he's right. The pool, the faces, the voice, they're not just memories. They're in you, woven into your blood, your breath. You need to get away, to think, but the city's closing in, the streets narrower, the walls leaning like they're trying to trap you. You head toward the river, the Tiber's muddy banks, your only refuge. But even here, the air's heavy, the water's surface rippling with secrets. You collapse on the grass, the damp soaking through your tunic, and try to breathe. The hum's relentless, a song you can't escape, and the scarred man's words loop in your head. You're part of it now. You think of the girl, her warning, her brother who never came back. You think of Livia, the priest, the coin. You're not just marked, you're claimed, a piece in a game you don't understand. You dig your hands into the grass, the cold earth grounding you for a moment. But it's a lie. The earth's not your ally. It's Rome's. You're about to stand when you hear it, a low, wet growl, not from the river, but from the ground beneath you. You freeze, your breath shallow, and the hum spikes, a scream that makes your vision blur. You scramble to your feet, your sandals slipping in the mud, and see it, a crack in the bank, small but growing, a faint glow pulsing from within. It's not mist this time. It's alive, moving, like the pool in the arcs. You back away, your heart in your throat, but the growl follows, a sound that's not sound but feeling, crawling through you like a worm. You run, the city a blur, the Tiber's banks giving way to narrow streets, the walls closing in. You don't know where you're going, but your feet carry you toward the Palatine, the hill a dark silhouette against the gray sky. You're drawn to it, to the archway, to the caves, like a moth to a flame you can't resist. You reach the sunken courtyard, the stone slab still sealed, but the symbols are glowing now, brighter, their lines pulsing like veins. You kneel, your fingers brushing the stone, and the hum becomes a voice, not commanding but pleading. See, you push the slab, your arms trembling, and it slides open, revealing the shaft, the rusted ladder descending into darkness. You climb down, the rungs cold and slick, the air thick with the smell of earth and blood. The tunnel's different now, wider, the walls lined with carvings, faces, hands, labyrinths, all twisting in the faint light of glowing moss. You move deeper, the hum a guide, until the tunnel opens into a new chamber, its floor a mosaic of black and red, depicting a city, not Rome, but something older, its towers jagged, its streets alive with shadows. At the center is a throne, not stone but bone, its arms carved with skulls, its back a lattice of ribs. You step closer, the hum a him, and see it, a figure, not human, not entirely, sitting there, its eyes glowing like the coin's face, its mouth a slash of darkness. It doesn't move, but you feel it, its presence a weight that crushes your lungs. The voice speaks, not in words but in images, blood, fire. A city built on screams, a pact sealed in the dark. You're part of it, the voice says, and you always were. You scream, or maybe you don't, but you're running, the tunnel collapsing, the mosaic cracking under your feet. You climb the ladder, your hands bleeding, and burst into the courtyard, the slab slamming shut. You're on your knees, gasping, the city sprawling below, its lights a lie. You're back in your insula, the straw mat your only anchor, but it's no anchor at all. The hum's there, the voice is there, and you're there, claimed by a city that never lets go. How do you live when the ground beneath you is alive and starving? If you're still watching this far, you're not here by accident. Type "I'm still here" in the comments. I want to see who's truly listening. Because the next part, it's the kind that stays with you long after the screen fades to black. Don't miss it. The straw mat is a punishment now, its sharp fibers no longer just pricking but clawing, as if Rome itself is reaching through the floor to hold you down. You're curled into a ball, your breath shallow, your body trembling from the bone-deep chill that followed you out of the Palatine's sunken courtyard. The hum is a constant companion, no longer a pulse, but a presence, wrapping around your heart like a vine, squeezing with every beat. The throne of bone, the figure with glowing eyes, the city of shadows. They're not just images burned into your mind. They're part of you, stitched into your thoughts, your blood, your fear. The insula's walls seem to lean closer, the air thick with the stench of rot and despair, and the city outside is a distant roar, mocking your attempt to pretend you're still free. You haven't moved since you collapsed here, your tunic crusted with mud and sweat, your hands still raw from the ladder's rusted rungs. The hum's voice is quieter now, but it's there, not speaking but waiting, a predator biding its time. You try to focus on the mundane, the drip of rainwater through the ceiling, the faint clatter of a cart outside. But it's no use. Rome's secrets have claimed you, and every sound, every shadow, feels like a reminder. You uncurl, wincing as your muscles protest, and sit up, your eyes darting to the corner where the coin once lay. It's gone, but you feel its weight, a ghost in your pocket, a chain you can't break. You need to move, to prove you're not just a husk waiting for the city to swallow. You stagger to your feet, your legs shaky, and splash your face with the last drops of water from a cracked jug. It's foul, gritty, but it stings enough to pull you back from the edge. You can't stay here, not with the walls whispering, not with the hum curling through your veins. You stumble down the stairs, the wood creaking like a warning, and step into the street. The morning's gray, the air heavy with the smell of damp stone and sewage, and Rome's chaos crashes over you. Vendors shouting, oxen lowing, the crowd a living tide that threatens to drown you. You keep your head down, your hand empty, but still clutching at the ghost of the coin. The streets are a labyrinth, the stones slick under your sandals, and the graffitis everywhere, Subterra, red Moors. But now there are new marks, spirals, and jagged lines that seem to writhe when you're not looking. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum flares, a jolt that makes your vision swim. You walk faster, your heart pounding, aiming for the market, for noise, for anything to remind you you're still human. But the faces in the crowd are wrong. Eyes too sharp, smiles too knowing, like they see the mark you carry. You reach the market, the air thick with the smells of bread, fish, and sweat. But it's a hollow comfort. You barter a few coins for a chunk of cheese, its sharp tang grounding you for a moment. But your eyes keep scanning the ground, the cracks, the grates where shadows flicker. You're chewing, barely tasting, when you hear it, a low, rhythmic chant, not from the market, but from somewhere deeper, beneath the stones. The hum syncs with it, a harmony that makes your skin crawl. And you know it's not your imagination. The city's singing, and it's singing to you. You're about to leave when a hand brushes your arm, light but deliberate. You turn to see an old man, his face weathered, his eyes milky but sharp, like he sees more than he should. He's leaning on a stick, his tunic patched but clean, and he smiles, a crooked, knowing smile. "You've been below," he says, his voice soft, almost drowned by the market's din. "And you came back." You freeze, your throat tight, but he doesn't wait for a reply. Not many do. But you're not free. He leans closer, his breath sour with age. The arc subterranea doesn't let go. You step back, your heart racing, but he follows, his stick tapping the stones. "I know," he says, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I went there once. Long ago. I saw the throne, the pool, the thing that sits and waits." He pauses, his eyes searching yours. "You saw it too, didn't you? You want to deny it, to run, but your feet are rooted. The hum, a chain holding you in place. What is it? You manage, your voice hoarse." He chuckles, a dry, rattling sound. "Rome's price," he says. "It's hunger. It's God." You're shaking, the cheese forgotten in your hand. But he's not done. "The Arcs isn't just a place," he continues, his voice low urgent. "It's the city's heart, built on blood, fed by blood. The kings knew. The priests know. And now you know." He taps his stick, the sound sharp against the stones. You're part of it now, whether you run or stay. The city chooses its keepers and its sacrifices. He pauses, his smile fading. "Which are you?" You back away, your heart pounding. And he doesn't follow, just watches as you melt into the crowd. The hum's louder now, a chant that drowns out the market's noise. And you know he's right. The throne, the figure, the pool, they're not just memories. They're alive, and they're in you. You need to get away, to think, but the city's closing in, the streets narrower, the walls leaning like they're trying to crush you. You head toward the Tiber, the river's muddy banks, your only refuge. But even here, the air's heavy, the water's surface rippling with secrets. You collapse on the grass, the damp soaking through your tunic, and try to breathe. The hum's relentless, a song you can't escape, and the old man's words loop in your head. The city chooses its keepers, and its sacrifices. You think of the girl, her brother, Livia, the bearded man. You think of a coin, the pool, the throne. You're not just marked, you're bound, a thread in Rome's tapestry. And the city's weaving you into something you don't understand. You dig your hands into the grass, the cold earth grounding you for a moment. But it's a lie. The earth's not your ally. It's Rome's. You're about to stand when you hear it, a low, wet growl, not from the river, but from the ground beneath you. You freeze, your breath shallow, and the hum spikes, a scream that makes your vision blur. You scramble to your feet, your sandals slipping in the mud, and see it, a crack in the bank, whiter than before, a faint glow pulsing from within. It's not mist, it's alive, moving, like the pool in the arcs. You back away, your heart in your throat, but the growl follows, a sound that's not sound, but feeling, crawling through you like a shadow. You run, the city a blur, the Tiber's banks giving way to narrow streets, the walls closing in. You don't know where you're going, but your feet carry you toward the Forum, the heart of Rome's secrets. You reach the Lacus Curtius, the cracks still roped off, but the guards are gone, the crowd thinner, the air heavier. The mist is thicker now, curling like fingers, and the chants louder, a hymn that makes your blood run cold. You step closer, drawn despite yourself, and see it, a shape in the mist, not human, not entirely, its eyes glowing like the throne's figure, its mouth a slash of darkness. You stumble back, your sandal catching on a stone, and someone grabs your arm, pulling you away. It's the scarred man from before, his face grim, his grip bruising. You don't learn, he says, his voice low, angry. You keep coming back. You try to protest, but he drags you through the crowd, his strength unyielding. They're watching, he says, his eyes flicking to the crack. And they're hungry. He pauses, his grip tightening. You're feeding them. You yank free, your arm throbbing, and run, the Forum's noise fading as you weave through the streets. You don't know where you're going, but you end up at the Palatine, the hill looming like a predator. The sunken courtyards there, the slab sealed, but the symbols are glowing brighter, their lines pulsing like a heartbeat. You kneel, your fingers brushing the stone, and the hum becomes a voice, not pleading, but commanding. Join. You push the slab, your arms trembling, and it slides open, revealing the shaft, the ladder descending into darkness. You climb down, the rungs cold and slick, the air thick with the smell of earth and blood. The tunnel's wider now, the walls lined with carvings, faces, hands, cities, all twisting in the faint light of glowing moss. You move deeper, the hum a guide, until the tunnel opens into a new chamber, its floor a mosaic of bone and stone, depicting a city burning, its people screaming, its gods laughing. At the center is a pool, not black, but red, pulsing like a wound. You step closer, the hum hymn, and see it, a figure, rising from a pool, its eyes glowing, its body a mass of shadows and bone. It doesn't speak, but you feel it, its hunger a weight that crushes your lungs. The voice chants, not in words, but in truths, Rome's birth, Rome's price, Rome's endless appetite. You're part of it, the voice says, and you always were. You scream, or maybe you don't, but you're running, the tunnel collapsing, the mosaic shattering. You climb the ladder, your hands bleeding, and burst into the courtyard, the slab slamming shut. You're on your knees, gasping, the city sprawling below, its lights alie. You're back in your insula, the straw mat your only anchor, but it's no anchor at all. The hum's there, the voice is there, and you're there, bound to a city that feeds on its own. How do you escape when the city is your cage and your captor? If you're still watching, you're one of the few who truly get it. Drop a comment saying, "Still awake. I want to know who made it this far." Because from here on out, things are about to get deeper, darker, and way more interesting. Stay with me. The straw mat beneath you is no longer a bed. It's a grave. Its coarse fibers clawing at your skin like the city's own hands, pinning you to the earth. You're curled up, your breath shallow, your body trembling from the red pool's glow, the figure's shadow-stitch form, the endless hunger that pulsed through the ark's subterranea. The hum is a part of you now, not just in your bones, but in your blood, a relentless rhythm that beats in time with Rome's heart. The insula's walls are suffocating, the air thick with the stench of mold, sweat, and something older, sharper, like the iron tang of blood you can't wash away. The city outside is a distant roar, but it's not distant enough. Rome's voice is in your head, It's hunger in your chest. And you know you're not just marked. You're consumed. You haven't moved since you collapsed here, your tunic stiff with mud, blood, and the unnameable grime of the underworld. Your hands are raw, nails torn from clawing at the ladder, and your eyes burn, not from tears, but from the weight of what you've seen. The city of screams, the gods that laughed, the figure that rose from the red pool. The hum's voice is silent now, but it's not gone. It's waiting, coiled like a snake, and you feel its patience, its certainty that you'll come when it calls. You uncurl, wincing as your body protests, and sit up, the straw crackling like dry bones. The ceiling's cracks seem wider, the spider's web in the corner abandoned, its maker fled or devoured. You need to move, to prove you're not already dead, but your limbs are heavy, like the city's poured lead into your veins. You stagger to your feet, your sandals crunching on the dirt floor, and reach for the jug, but it's empty. Its clay walls mocking your thirst. You don't care. You need air, light, something to remind you there's a world beyond Rome's grasp. You stumble down the stairs, the wood groaning like it's begging you to stay, and step into the street. The morning's raw, the sky a sickly yellow, the air thick with the smell of rain and decay. Rome's chaos hits you, vendors shouting, carts creaking, the crowd a living beast. But it's hollow, a mask over the city's true face. You keep your head down, your hand twitching where the coin once burned. The streets are a labyrinth, the stones slick with dew and filth, and the graffitis everywhere, subterra, red moors. But now there are new marks, eyes and mouths scratched into the walls, watching, grinning. You pass a sewer grate, and the hum stirs, a low throb that makes your teeth ache. You walk faster, your heart pounding, aiming for the market, for noise, for anything to drown out the city song. But the faces in the crowd are wrong, eyes too bright, movements too sharp, like they're puppets on Rome strings. You reach the market, the air thick with the smells of bread, fish, and sweat. But it's a lie, a thin veil over the city's hunger. You barter your last coins for a handful of dates, their sticky sweetness grounding you for a moment. But your eyes keep darting to the ground, to the cracks, to the grates where shadows pulse. You're chewing, barely tasting. When you hear it, a low rhythmic chant not from the market but from beneath, a hymn that sinks with the hum in your chest. The city's calling, and you know it's not a request. It's a command. You're about to run when a voice stops you, soft but piercing. You can't keep running. You turn to see a woman, young, her face pale, her eyes dark with something like pity. She's dressed in a simple tunic, but there's a weight to her, like she carries the city's secrets in her bones. You've seen too much, she says, stepping closer. Her voice barely audible over the market's din, the ark's subterranea. The pool. The god. You freeze, your throat tight, but she doesn't wait for a reply. It's not done with you. You swallow, the dates turning to ash in your mouth. Who are you? You ask, your voice hoarse. She smiles, a sad, fleeting thing. Someone who tried to run, she says. Someone who learned you can't. She pauses, her eyes searching yours. My name's Elia. I was like you once, marked, chosen, cursed. I went below, saw the throne, the pool. I thought I could escape. She laughs, a bitter sound. Rome doesn't let go. You step back, your heart racing, but she follows, her voice low, urgent. The Arks isn't just a place, she says. It's Rome's soul, built on blood, fed by blood. The kings made a pact, the priests keep it, and we pay the price. She pauses, her hand brushing your arm, her touch cold. You're part of it now, whether you fight or fall. The city needs its keepers, its sacrifices, its fuel. She leans closer, her breath sharp with the smell of herbs and ash. You're burning, and you don't even know it. You're shaking, the dates forgotten in your hand. But she's not done. There's one last secret, she says. her voice dropping to a whisper. The vox terrae, the voice of the earth. It's what you hear, what pulls you. It's Rome's God, its hunger, its truth. She pauses, her eyes locking onto yours. It's awake now because of you. You want to deny it, to scream, but the hum flares, a scream that makes your vision blur. And you know she's right. The pool, the figure, the chant, they're not just in you. They're through you, using you to breathe. You back away, your heart pounding, and she doesn't follow, just watches as you melt into the crowd. The hum's a roar now, a chant that drowns out the market's noise. And you know you're not running from Elia or the city, but from yourself. You need to get away, to think, but the streets are closing in, the walls leaning like they're trying to crush you. You head toward the Tiber, the river's muddy banks, your only refuge. But even here, the air's heavy, the water's surface rippling with eyes that aren't there. You collapse on the grass, the damp soaking through your tunic, and try to breathe. The hum's relentless, a hymn you can't escape, and Elia's words loop in your head. You're burning, and you don't even know it. You think of the girl, Livia, the bearded man, the old man. You think of the coin, the pool, the throne. You're not just bound, you're fuel, a spark in Rome's endless fire. You dig your hands into the grass, the cold earth grounding you for a moment. But it's a lie. The earth's not your ally. It's Rome's voice. You're about to stand when you hear it, a low, wet growl, not from a river, but from the ground beneath you. You freeze, your breath shallow, and the hum spikes, a scream that makes your vision blur. You scramble to your feet, your sandals slipping in the mud, and see it, a crack in the bank, wider, deeper, a red glow pulsing from within, like the pool in the arcs. You back away, your heart in your throat, but the growl follows, a sound that's not sound but truth, crawling through you like a blade. You run, the city a blur, the Tiber's banks giving way to narrow streets, the walls closing in. You don't know where you're going, but your feet carry you toward the Forum, the heart of Rome's hunger. You reach the Lacus Curtius, the crack unguarded now, the mist thicker, curling like hands. The chant deafening, a hymn that makes your blood boil, and you step closer, drawn despite yourself. The mist parts, and you see it, a figure rising from a crack, its eyes glowing, its body a mass of shadows and bone, its mouth a void that sings your name. You stumble back, your sandal catching on a stone, and someone grabs your arm, pulling you away. It's Elia, her face grim, her grip bruising. You can't fight it, she says, her voice low, desperate. But you can choose how you burn. You try to protest, but she drags you through the crowd, her strength unyielding. The vox terrae, she says, her eyes flicking to the crack. It's awake and it's starving. You woke it, and now you feed it. You yank free, your arm throbbing, and run, the Forum's noise fading as you weave through the streets. You end up at the Palatine, the hill a dark silhouette against the yellow sky. The sunken courtyards there, the slab glowing, its symbols alive, pulsing like a heart. You kneel, your fingers brushing the stone, and the hum becomes a voice, not commanding, but welcoming. Home. You push the slab, your arms trembling, and it slides open, revealing the shaft, the ladder descending into darkness. You climb down, the rungs cold and slick, the air thick with the smell of earth and blood. The tunnel's endless now, the walls a tapestry of bone and shadow, depicting a city that's not Rome, but its truth, its hunger, its God. You move deeper, the hum a hymn, until the tunnel opens into a chamber, its floor a sea of red, its ceiling a sky of bone. At the center is the figure, not on a throne, but standing, its eyes glowing, its body a storm of shadows and screams. It doesn't speak, but you feel it, its hunger a fire that burns your soul. The voice sings not in words, but in eternities. Rome's birth, Rome's price, Rome's endless feast. You're part of it, the voice says, and you always were. You don't scream. You don't run. You step forward, the Red Sea parting, the figure reaching, its hand cold as the grave. You're burning, Elias said, and you feel it now, the fire that's not pain but purpose. You're Rome's keeper, its sacrifice, its fuel. The city closes around you, the hum a lullaby, the darkness a home. And as you fade, you know it's not over. Rome's hunger never ends, and there are others waiting, marked burning. You were just the first spark in a fire that's only beginning to blaze. What happens when the city's God wakes fully, and the earth itself starts to scream? If you've stayed with me until now, then maybe you feel it too, that the past never truly sleeps. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because the stories coming next, they'll be stranger, deeper, and far more unforgettable. And you know what? I'll be right here, waiting for you, in the next video.